Hey everyone. Okay, so right from the jump, I like how the beginning of this episode really sets a tone for the kind of lesson Koby needed to learn, which in a way there's kind of two lessons here, which is the first part of the lesson is that even as a Marine, you can't save everyone. You do have to make sacrifices, but it's the choice you make of what sacrifice to make that's important. And look, the choice Kobe makes to abandon Garp is definitely a controversial one for some, especially considering that Garp is one of the strongest Marines in existence. But from you almost got to look at it from Garp's point of view and how he's a very humble person in the sense where, despite his strength, he really does view himself as the weakest link in this, is as the weakest link in this scenario, or as the analogy he used said, he's just a doddering old man who's not worth much. It's the people he's trained to carry on his legacy who are worth much more. And I know we've all had our issues with Koby as a character in one way or another, yours truly included, and for me it's mainly been that he's suffered the most from being mostly just a background character. But I think it is in this moment when he made the choice to leave, and the choice to, in order to truly follow like Garp's orders, in order to save everyone, that in my opinion, like this episode, it pushed Koby into finally into main character status finally at long last. And what and in at least on the Marine side of things, like no matter what Koby does beyond this point, he will play a prominent role. Now, again, as far as what kind of role Oda is setting him up for, that's another question in itself. But you basically know it kind of, like so many other characters now, it does put him as a piece on the board for the final arc of this of this story and whatnot. Um, and also, to go right along with that, I do like how this episode does finally reveal just how strong Koby really is, which, as it's revealed during his training days, he would wander off the train using the battleship bags, and when cutting back to the present, we see him unleash his own version of the galaxy impact on Pizarro's arm. And this is one of those times where what makes this scene great, at least for me, and what makes it work, isn't so much the action itself, but more so the build up to it. As we're clued in very early on in the episode that, yeah, Garp is keenly aware Koby's been holding back this entire time, which eventually, like, it leads into learning, into the flashback where we learn Garp had found out of Koby's secret training, and when cutting back to the moments leading up to Koby finally unleashing that giant punch onto Bizarro, you see Helmeppo knowing what was. You see, like, little moments of Helmeppo kind of cluing in, knowing exactly what was about to happen. Then leading into, again, the final moment of seeing Koby just unleash his true power. Like, it's one of those moments that just kind of all perfectly weaves together, from one scene after another, leading up to the climax. Of and and with seeing Koby unleash his own impact technique, as the title says, more than anyone else after this episode, Koby is the one who has the most potential to be Garp's successor. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't usually get emotional from watching One Piece. I think the only time that it's ever truly happened to me was during Ace's death. But the last moments of this episode of seeing Garp's final words to the others, telling them to leave Beehive, and even his final one, the flashback saying the potential future of the young is limitless. It really did get me acting up a little bit. Only made worse that just like so many others with the name of D before him, Garp, like, just laughs in the face of his own death as Kuzan freezes him. Like, it's a moment like that I think the anime really fucking nailed. I think, and I think what really sold a lot of this episode and the last one for me, though, more than anything, is not so much the art and animation, although that was great, but more so the lighting. Like, the way the episode bathes Garp in this light, almost as if he's like a shining beacon for the future, really does give him this sort of ephemeral, warm presence that is leaving a long storied history behind. And it is taken in the form of people like Koby, like Helmeppo, like Primož Gross, like so many Marines who are younger than him, who are carrying up his mantle. It's like little things like that that really did make me say, you know what, this episode, it's got all the emotional sauce it needs. Um, Now, with that said, I guess it does go without saying, but we get a tease for the new rather than a like a rather than a recap to basically the next episode. We basically get a tease. Instead, we get a tease for a new special at the end of the episode, rather than the usual recap, called One Piece Fan Letter, which is presumably, from what I've gathered from the tease, is going to focus around a young girl who documents the Straw Hats' exploits leading up to the return and the return after the time skip. And I'm not gonna lie, I do normally skip these specials nowadays, but I will say this one has me intrigued. Now, this isn't me saying I'm gonna review it, but I'm curious enough to kind of watch this at least and see, okay, what exactly is this? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm curious as to what exactly they're planning to do with this particular with this particular like with this particular special. It's kind of intriguing to me. It might be, a lot of it might be recap, but in a different style. But I'm curious what they're gonna do. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll, with the subscribe button, and just share it around, guys. Dark Knight signing off. Later, everyone.